Hello, my name is Codemaster Jamal, and welcome to another devlog for my 3D monster collecting MMORPG Virtual Monsters. Over the past few days, I worked on a 3D model for one of the monsters in my game, and this devlog is to document how I made a 3D model in Blender, as well as show other behind the scenes content. I haven't actually made a devlog for this game in roughly 6 months, however, I have been working on moving into a new place for a while, which has had its ups and downs, but I eventually decided it was time to give an update to the game. I've been working on my game Virtual Monsters for roughly 2 years. It's been a pretty long journey, however, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and after what I learned in this devlog, it won't take long for me to finish this game once I've moved into a better place to develop. I have a lot of different things to discuss in this video, so without further ado, let's get into it. This is the 17th devlog for my indie game Virtual Monsters. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is my future career as a streamer. Even though I haven't released a devlog in a long time, I've managed to keep my audience updated on my game with my live streams. And until I move into another place, I won't be doing any more game development content live. But rest assured, this content will come back soon. I really enjoy developing my game with my viewers, even though I make a lot of mistakes. Somehow, at the end of every live, I manage to somewhat finish what I started to do, or at least get closer to doing what I wanted to do in the first place. I don't know how long I can keep that up, but it's definitely a good feeling of accomplishment. It also warms my heart that some people manage to learn a thing or two from the live streams, so I will definitely continue to do them in the future. At some point, I took all of my live streams down, but from now on, you can find all of my live streams in a playlist in the playlist section of this YouTube channel. This channel actually features a decent amount of content and also includes some of my musical performances. If you don't mind, I would really appreciate it if you followed me on Twitch. I could use the followers for when I get back into streaming. I also forgot to mention that while I was away, I spent some time working on a side project called Dragon Ball Z Ultimate End. You guys should check it out. It's actually a 2D turn-based RPG game, and a lot of people really enjoy it, and currently it's on itch.io, GameJolt, and Newgrounds. There's a link to it in the description of this video, and sometime later I will make a few in-depth devlogs about this game. It's kind of buggy, but it's a decent 2 to 3 hours of fun. Granted, you don't rage quit from losing to Krillin. In regards to my game Virtual Monsters, I also made a lot more music for the game. A lot of these songs aren't entirely finished, but most of them are solid. I eventually want to copyright my songs and then release them to platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. I'm really excited for an official soundtrack for Virtual Monsters. Of course, all of my music will be free to listen on my personal SoundCloud, so if you're interested, go ahead and give me a follow there as well. Now let's talk about the reason why you clicked on this video. This video is about how I 3D modeled my first virtual monster for my game, Virtual Monsters RPG. I wanted to do this live, but I'm still kind of nervous about 3D modeling live. If I do it, I need to be able to provide some kind of educational material for it. Otherwise, I feel like people pretty much won't watch it. In other words, I really need to know my stuff before I attempt to do this live and speak like I'm some kind of professional, which I'm obviously not, if you guys didn't know that. And it's not that I don't know what I'm doing, but because I do a lot of things for my game, whenever I go into 3D modeling or reactivate a skill I haven't used in a long time, it takes me a while to remember everything. Muscle memory is amazing, and don't forget that your brain is like any other organ in the body. I think it's made out of muscles. I don't know, you could call it a muscle. But just like any other muscle in the body, the brain can also be trained too. So I pretty much trained myself to be able to relearn the Blender software whenever I need to. However, because I do this, every time I open up Blender, I become a somewhat better 3D modeler, and things like the basics begin to stick with me more and more. It's like the saying that once you learn how to ride a bike, you never forget how to ride a bike. Well, the same can be said about any skill you learn. If you do forget, you can always reteach yourself how to do something, especially if you've done something at least one time. This can be applied to any skill, not just code or 3D modeling. This is also a way of solidifying your skill in something that most people would seem difficult. Nothing is too hard to learn or master, just some people pick up things quicker than others, and sometimes you need to work harder at something in order to get good at it. My philosophy, after all, is that nothing is impossible. And with a little hard work and practice, you can achieve anything. I guess the reason why I'm going off like this is before, I planned on hiring people to work on 3D models of the characters for the game. I was willing to pay people money, but surprisingly, most people I met either didn't have the taste or flair I was looking for my game, or they just never followed through. And honestly, I get it. It's a busy world we live in. Sometimes we can't always meet people's expectations, and I also have a specific taste. One side of me wanted to hire people because it would look very professional, and I'll be able to focus more on code and getting the game done quicker. The other side of me actually wants to 3D model monsters myself because I feel like the big appeal of Virtual Monsters is that it's completely independently made. It's literally just me. Everything's made by me. Everything's done by me. And because the game is completely made by me, it's like it has its own signature flair. Or at least most of the stuff is made by me. I feel like if I introduce assets from other people, it could somewhat ruin the image I had for the game. So I'm very cautious on who I actually bring into this game. Originally, there was a 3D artist by the name of Jeremiah Taylor who did the 3D models for a game called Crystal Creatures. He was the one who did the original 3D design of Enzor, which I thought was really great and I really enjoyed it. He does really amazing work and you should follow him, but his work just wasn't what I was looking for. Perhaps I will hire him in the future to work on some things, but for now, I think I can handle 3D modeling all of the monsters. The thing that separates the monsters of Virtual Monsters from games like Pokemon is that in Pokemon, the artists are trying their best to make the monster look cute. Well, in Virtual Monsters, primarily because I favorite the designs of monsters in Digimon more than Pokemon, I wanted the designs of my monsters to be a bit more tough looking. I just wanted them to be cool. Not so tough or scary looking that it scares children, because I really don't want to get sued, but tough looking enough for you to know that it's a fighter, it's pretty tough, and if you mess with it, you're probably going to get bit. But it can also be seen as a pet. Virtual monsters are more like guard dogs, as in comparison to Pokemon, where they are more like pet hamsters or someone's chihuahua or something. So with this approach, I really wanted to distinguish myself from Pokemon. In regards to 3D modeling, I now have a sort of process that I'd like to follow when it comes to creating monsters or any assets I need for my game. The first step is the modeling stage. This is just to create the mesh or object that is going to be used in the game. The next step is to edit the UVs. By creating seams around the model and unwrapping it to form islands, I could basically arrange the islands however I want to make it easier for me to texture paint the model later on. Then I can finally start texture painting the model, which can take up to 3 applications running at the same time to get done. This includes Blender, Krita, and Paint.net. There's also the rigging and weight painting steps. I didn't manage to get around to this yet, but I'll probably show more of it in another video. I used Paint.net to get the colors from the original artwork and then applied a base coating texture in Blender. I then made some eyes and nostrils inside of Krita and then positioned them accordingly in Paint.net, along with some oval strips. At some point, I was debating on if I should or shouldn't smooth out the model before I started texture painting. Oddly enough, if I ever wanted to do gender differences between species of virtual monsters, this would be an awesome trick. The bulkier one does look more masculine than the smoother one. Unfortunately, breeding monsters won't be a feature in my game, and I'm not sure how the Pokemon company would react to me putting such a thing in my game. After all, my goal is to make a monster collecting game, but not a complete and total ripoff of Pokemon. I respect the franchise too much to do y'all like that. Once I finished texture painting the monster, I exported the blend file into my Unity project. Initially, this model was meant to be a test drive for how I will model monsters in the future, but I think it turned out so well that I might actually keep this in the game for now. Not including the weight painting and rigging, this took me roughly 2 days to complete. I think if I practice really hard, I can completely design a monster in roughly 1 day or 2 monsters in 1 day. For this game, I would like to have up to 1,000 or possibly 2,000 monsters in total for the game. But seeing how I work alone, I don't think it would be possible for me to 3D model all of the monsters by myself by the end of the year, or at least by the beginning of the year. Because I really want to get this game out as soon as possible so I can move on to other things. Which is okay because I know that eventually I can do it. Eventually I can actually do 1,000 models by myself, but it just takes time. I can also hire other people to work with me, but that's another story. However, my problem is that I want to get this game up and running as soon as possible. So I think what I will do is include at least 300 to 500 monsters for the game before the game is completely released. And I can always add the other monsters later if the game picks up in popularity and people want to see more of the game and more monster designs. If I can do 2 monsters a day, I'll be able to put in a lot of monsters into the game in no time. This is why I want to save putting all of the monsters in the game as one of the last things I do for the game once the majority of the features work in the game. I've also been thinking of doing an open beta for the game. However, the only twist will be that the game will only be online for a week and you would only be able to play it in your browser. Just as a test run. It's not a complete idea, but I'm just throwing it out there. I will make sure to update everyone if I do decide to do that. Originally, I was going to let this game be exclusively beta tested by close friends, and we will in later stages of the game. However, for now, I just want to test people's reaction to the game and see where I can improve things for the future releases on other platforms. I don't entirely know how things are going to go for that, but for now, only the future can tell. Anyway, this is going to be the very end of the video. I'll have a lot more to show later, but for now, I need to focus on moving into a new place so I can give you guys the weekly content that you deserve. Thanks for supporting me, and thanks for watching until the end of this video. If you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Virtual Monsters content. Keep making games. Till next time, this is Codemaster Jamal, and I'm signing out.